we go. Okay. And what happened to the screen? We are all huge this time. I'm going to close that. Oops. Get open and just. Perfect. Okie dokie. Now, YouTube. Hello. Do I have audio? Hello? Yeah, so we determined that my headphones are dysfunctional my for my audio. So instead I am I can hear you. Oh, I can hear myself. Okay. Yeah, so my headphones don't work. And so we're using my camera audio for the recording instead. Yep. Do you mind saying something else? Like just like yell into the camera for me or to your mic. Perfect. One more time. There we go. I think we are in a good volume level now. I'm going to check this one more time. Okay, I see what's wrong. YouTube can't hear Discord for some reason.
I can't hear. Period.
I don't know many men who can hear a period.
It depends on the woman. I mean, if those cramps are pretty bad, she's gonna let you know.
I did. Oh, okay. Which one isn't working?
Your mom isn't working.
I mean, that's true too.
She's gonna let you know. Okay, but why can't we hear me now? Cool. Okay. Everything is working.
Except for your mom.
Actually, she just got off work.
See, therefore she is not working.
Yeah, we're still right.
I am still objectively correct.
I am so quiet. Let me see if I can fix that.
Tanner.
So,
The ceiling. How terrified would you be if at level 1 the DM hands you a magic item that levels up with you, and every time it levels up you get another attunement slot?
I get another 2 what?
Another attunement slot.
Why would that be scary?
Why would a DM give you the essentially the end game ability to have 20 magical items
Fun fact, if you leave all your dice facing with the one up, it gets the ones out of their system so they don't roll it.
Okay. I'm opening YouTube just one more time to make sure everything's going the way it needs to be going. If all your dice facing with the one up, it gets the ones out of their system so they don't roll it.
Yep. That sounds like a really smart man right there.
Yes, perfect. Okay. For those who are watching YouTube, the live stream or later, I'm going to apologize that episode 1 is gone. There was massive issues with the recording. Oh, I should also probably start recording this. And there was also some major issues with the audio involved. So that episode is completely lost. That being said, I will recap you on pretty much everything you needed to know for that session right now.
Wait. No, that's not the button I wanted. I have a ferret.
Okay. And I'm also going to apologize. There is supposed to be music in the background, but I'm having difficulties getting that up. But since we have the voice audio this time, I'm going to settle for that this time. Okay. So last session, our party ended up arriving in the continent of the Terrans, which carries the name of the world they are in, Alextora. And, well, one of them lived there, and the other arrived there from the elemental continent, where the dragons and giants are currently at war. Our giant friend Felix, correct? Or no? Felix.
I'm Felix.
Louis.
Yeah,
Louis.
Felix is the scoundrel. Luis is the animal lover.
Yes. Luis has come to this continent to learn about the wildlife and to experience lush forests and greenery. And Felix, his aspirations is to become a successful
Steal everything.
crime lord running a thieves guild. When they met up with each other, they had run into an elf. In this world, these are known as Titanborns because the elves worship the Titans, which fight the gods of the Terrans, which are the majority of humanoid races. After interacting with this Titanborn, they chose to help the Titanborn escape and then went into the city of Alton, where we learned that Felix has gotten his hands on a coin that operates as a signet of the guild known as the Screaming Devils. And there can be possible information that he can gain by using this coin at a party that is happening here in the near future that is being held in honor of one of the merchant lords that rule the city's daughters, who is now turned 21. After learning about this, Felix cons Luis into joining forces in a way, and Luis decides
hold on. Time out, Jam.
Okay.
I'm not a con man. I'm an extortionist. There's a difference.
And they were offered the ability to take attire to allow themselves to fit into the party and try to get in as representatives of an honorable guild of some kind, and meet up with the innkeepers informant inside. And the informant's name, I wrote this down.
I should also like finish giving you. I should also like actually finish writing Felix's background and actually get it to you so you can better plan your RP sessions.
You're supposed to meet Arin the Hobgoblin. Since he is a Hobgoblin, he is not considered a Terran, he is considered a Wilds, so you will expect him to not be there as a guest, but possibly staff. And with that, I think we can go ahead and resume where we left off. And you guys just finished getting your outfits together. What would you guys like to do?
Does this suit make my butt look big?
I'm sure you're fine. As I'm sneaking, as I'm putting my dagger into the my dagger as the handle of my cane.
The chef who is in the other room actually chimes in and he yells, "Sir, everything you wear makes you look big."
Oh.
That was supposed to be a joke. I'm sorry if it was offensive.
I'm gonna just like brushing up what I'm wearing and try to look professional. And I kind of have this nice little smug look on my face. I'm quite pleased with myself, even though I only look like I'm half dressed for the occasion. Do I still have? I have Slinky with me, right? The ferret.
Yes.
I beg of you to leave the ferret behind, please.
Why not?
I'm begging. Please leave the ferret.
Is that in character or out of character?
In character, I'm like, please leave the ferret behind.
But I taught him. I've been training him. No, I'll leave the ferret.
Okay.
Reluctantly.
Yeah. Well, tonight. Except for you. Bad. But you're lucky I don't know where jail is.
Okay. If you guys want, we can do a little bit of a time skip and bring you to the manor where the party is being held. The cook actually dresses in a fairly decent, like, servant's outfit. And you guys find a well-restored cart being pulled by a two-legged lizard with a feathered mane. And that cart is what brings you guys to the party.
Fine.
As you get there, you find many other carriages, carts. Some are self-propelled, some are taken by organic creatures. None seem to be excessively mechanical. Those self-propelled ones seem to run off of a air elemental trapped within the mechanism itself. And the manor has a long line of noble people walking on this purple carpet that leads to the front door, where there are several guards standing outside, and a man who looks like a butler with cat ears is checking a book for names as the groups are approaching.
Hey, Felix. Our names are in the book, right? Or at least your name is?
I leaned over to the cook, like, my name is in the book, right?
He leans over and he's like, how would we have done that? It's up to you.
I had sent someone in advance who I would have assumed would have reported back with someone if they were successful.
From what I know, there has not been any addition to the book. No.
So, how are we going to get in?
God, no clue. I had paid someone to add my name to the book, so like.
The chef smiles at you and kind of like pats you on the back, and he's like, "Oh dear sir, just confidence. Confidence will get you miles."
Yeah, confidence gets you as far as reality will let you. Yeah, we're gonna.
Okay, Nash.
Yes.
What I would like you to do as Felix is roll a persuasion check, or as you approach, you can roll a deception check to try to pass off as if you are supposed to be there. You get to choose which one you want to do, but there will be a different outcome to each.
Well,
Or hold on. I have. It would probably have to. I couldn't do anything, but I'm like, I have a +4 in nature. What if Luis decides to try to pretend to be like a naturalist that was invited to this party, and he, instead of like trying to present credentials, he just starts spouting out natural information about ecology and
I mean,
food web,
if you
trying to.
if you'd like to try to attempt to convince them that you need to be there, that you're supposed to be there, instead, you can. But from what I remember of last session, you had chosen to look like a guard supporting this nobleman.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Go ahead, Felix.
okay, so I have a +3 to deception.
One will be an easier check than the other, but I won't tell you which.
Okay, so for clarification on story, my real name is kind of known. So I feel like deception is my only option.
So, in the scenario where you would have sent someone to put your name in there, you would have a alias that you would have gone.
Yes.
So,
Which leads me to deception.
Okay, just pick one and roll. Let the dice decide.
I'm also trying to remember the name that I used because I forgot to write it down.
I didn't record it either, so you can choose to come up with one now. And I will record it now.
All right, I'm gonna do persuasion. Not with that die though. That die. Ooh, that's not bad. That will be an 18 on persuasion.
18. So as you guys approach, you use the name that your alias was set.
Lord Alexander.
Arcade.
Excuse me. Lord Alexander Church.
He looks through the book, and at this point, during the awkward silence of him going through the book and the guard standing there, the guards start to kind of like twitch a little bit because the guy guarding you is twice their size almost, and they all kind of shift uncomfortably, like they definitely don't want this to come to blows. And after flipping through a couple pages, you find the butler says, "Ah, yes, there you are. You're welcome to go in. You're here as a botanist."
Did you just say botanist?
Yep.
Don't worry, Felix, I got you.
I just discreetly just kind of hit him. It's like, shut up.
Okay, so you guys get to enter the party where you are instantly greeted by a ruckus of noise. There are a couple bards kind of standing at the base of the stairwell that leads to the second floor. There's ribbons that are kind of like blocking off the second floor, assuming that it's to indicate that you aren't to go up that level. And then there's two doors. One leads to a large dining hall with a buffet that is currently active. No chairs in there, but noblemen are able to take plates and stand and feed on the food in the room. And the other leads to a ballroom. There's also two doorways that are closed currently that lead to the back of the house. But you see staff that open the door, bringing new food and bringing equipment for the ballroom as needed, passing back and forth.
Do all of these staff members look hobgoblinish?
Strangely enough, you know that most of the merchant lords actually only keep Terran staff. But this one is unique as he actually keeps wilds mainly in his staff. And though the facing wilds are mostly all beastmen, also known as shifters in the D&D mechanics, you can tell as the doors swing open that the kitchen staff are made up of goblinoids, like hobgoblins and goblins themselves.
So it's a needle in a haystack.
You are familiar with the informant. You and him have met multiple times. I will allow you, if you decide to go into the back to investigate for him, I will allow you to roll investigation to find him.
Okie dokie. So, I look up to Luis. Try to blend in. I'm gonna go find our hobgoblin friend.
Well, since I'm dressed as a guard, I'm just going to go stand in a corner and look like I'm protecting people.
Okay. Would you like to stand in the corner of the room you are currently in, or ballroom, or buffet?
Whichever one Felix ends up going into, because I don't want to lose track of him.
Okay. Felix, which way do you?
Well, then stand lookout up. I'm sneaking into the back, so you can stand lookout.
Okay.
So you'll stay in this room, probably at the base of the stairs where the bards are singing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to. What would I roll to not roll for to be inconspicuous?
That would be
so even though okay.
I will allow you. So this is an interesting little mechanic where you can roll a skill check, but you can use a different ability. which the truth of that is you use the modifier of the ability, but if you have if you have proficiency with said skill, aka stealth, then you would get your proficiency bonus. So use your charisma to roll stealth.
Okay. I'd rather just use the dexterity for my stealth because my charisma is a +0, whereas my dexterity is a +6.
I will allow you to use the dexterity, but the outcome will be different based off of which one you choose.
Okay. So hold on. Okay, so then I guess I'll just roll for the charisma one then, since
I will state there's no massive negatives unless you roll low.
I rolled a 17, so that's pretty good even without any modifiers.
Yeah. So you managed to make yourself look very natural in the setting. And since you used your charisma, you're able to you're able to blend in with the crowd rather than trying to merely disappear.
Felix, did you run into some conflict there with that roll on D&D and Beyond?
I'm just trying to figure out why my initiative is +6. And I was trying to tap it to see what's giving it that modifier.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Well, my initiative is at a +4, and I don't know why I have that either.
Because my dexterity is 4, so it's getting a +2 from somewhere, and I'm not sure where it's getting a +2.
Oh, that's why it's off. That makes sense. Today I was building a campaign, or I was building an encounter, and it was like, you have a budget of like 1,000, and I'm like, I shouldn't have a budget of 1,000. I have 2 level 1 players. It's because Nova Rain's still in the party. I'm gonna Okay, that's much better.
So I'm being inconspicuous, standing heads and shoulders above people, and kind of like bummed out that I couldn't have brought my ferret.
And I'm sneaking into the kitchen to find my contact.
Okay.
Or I guess my ex-wife's contact.
Go ahead and roll investigation.
It's probably her boyfriend. Sorry.
There is backstory that I need to text Jam so that he can understand more of the connection to this character. You said investigation?
Yes.
Dirty 20.
A dirty 20.
Do.
Tanner, you should listen to the Galactic Empire version of the Jurassic Park theme.
They just use different instruments, make it a little bit more upbeat and menacing.
Metal.
Huh.
Okie dokie. What was your roll?
A modified 20?
My total was a dirty 20. My roll was an 18.
Okay, so you quickly end up finding him as he is pretending to be part of the kitchen staff, and he knows nothing about cooking. So he stands out like a sore thumb, kind of fiddling with dishes and kind of like moving one dish from like the oven space over to the sink, and then he'll grab another dish from the dry end of the sink and like walk right back to the oven space. And somehow he's remained inconspicuous while doing this.
These are busy places.
What is this what is this hobgoblin's name again?
Aaron.
All right, I approach him and just, Aaron, one of these days you simply must learn the craft in which you attempt to impersonate.
Hey, I usually just impersonate the innkeeper's staff. So this is not my forte. And literally a day ago, I was just the cleaner of the manor. Felix, follow me. We're gonna go into the produce cabinet.
Gonna go into the where?
The produce cabinet. He
Okay.
leads you towards.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. I don't know why, because my volume's at max.
Sorry.
One can get too familiar with vegetables, you know.
So he
Shut up.
takes you
Shut
towards a closet kind of built into the wall, and it's built with a rickety wooden door. As he pulls it open, you realize that this door links to the outside and is fairly well aired. And there seems to be a cooling magic within it, like an ice magic within it. As you step inside, he closes it, and then he bars the door from the inside.
And play sexy music. I'm sorry. Sorry. Continue.
At this point, Aaron pulls out a notebook, and he flips it open to a page where there is a drawing of a woman in a suggestive pose.
Oh, go back to my original comment.
And then he flips it again, and there's a page with some notes that are scribbled in Thieves' Cant.
I am proficient in reading Thieves' Cants.
He hands the book to you, and he's like, from my investigation, he has multiple records of his finances, and he's also been tracking the other lord's finances. What doesn't make sense, with the festival coming up, you would think that there would be clear signs of a lot of distribution. But here's what's weird. See that section right there? That section is the temple's sacrifice. It's what they send to the living host within the nearby temple. But if you look, there's no cost of transportation, and there's no records of it actually being received by the temple. They're moving stuff, but they're not saying where it's actually going.
Intriguing.
I think these shipments would be a great thing for us to investigate once we find them. If they continue to disappear, but we choose where they go, that could be a much more beneficial method of sacrifice.
Okay, so briefly getting into some, like, to explain what I'm about to say. The empire that my ex-wife runs is formerly my father's empire. So I'll respond with, well, like my old man always said, too much greed will get you caught, so let's make sure we don't take too much.
That makes sense. But we still have to figure out what routes they're taking to bring this to the temple. Or wherever they're actually bringing it. It seems to be mostly food, but there are some other, like, entertainment-based things, like books of history and things like that.
Do you have copies of these?
I don't have the official copies, but you can take the notes I have. The official copies would be in several books that are up in the second floor in the study.
Do you have copies of your notes so I don't take everything you currently have?
No, you're free to take the notes, though.
All right.
He tears the page out and hands it over to you.
Outside of what Lila has asked of you, I have a small favor to ask.
What would you like me to do?
This stays between you and I.
As in, it doesn't go to Lila?
Our marriage has been over for some time, but I still worry that she will get herself into trouble again.
He's gonna roll insight. He rolled low.
I am 1000% truthful. Like I went to jail taking the fall for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you want me to do?
I want to know everything there is to know about the screaming demons before I let
Devils?
her. Oh yeah, the screaming devils. Before I let her in on this, before I tell her I found this, and I show him the coin.
That's interesting. Where did you find that?
The ship she sent me to rob this morning.
So she was probably expecting to have a rendezvous with the Screaming Devils then. I wonder if these shipments and the Screaming Devils are somehow a part of the same conspiracy.
It's entirely possible.
Do you think that might mean that there'll be a Screaming Devil representative somewhere here at the party?
Potentially. But like I said, I want to make sure we are completely aware of what we're getting into before I let her go anywhere near this.
That makes sense.
You know better than anyone how far I will go to keep her safe.
Absolutely. I'll look into it.
I'll try to make a contact with them tonight. Try to give you a better in on getting information.
Okay. Well, I'll pretend to...
Meet me in the tomorrow. I should have some information for you to run with.
Absolutely. I'll remain keeping up my alias as the groundskeeper here.
And remember, between us.
Understood.
I hand him platinum piece.
Oh,
Bam.
your generosity has no bounds. I'll be sleeping well tonight, if you know what I mean. These cat girls know how to have a good time.
Back to your duties.
I don't want. I hate that my brain's imagining that.
Look
It's
at
a
what
hobgoblin.
it looks like, and just see how much worse it is. All right, and then I
wish I
for us
was
to
like Luis
leave.
and stuck in the other room.
What?
I wish I was like Luis and stuck in the other room.
At that point, Aaron unbars the door, but instead of heading into the kitchen, he heads out the other door that leads to the outside.
I head back through the kitchen. I take a peek out before I step out back into the main room.
Okay. What are you looking for?
Just making sure that no one's like actively looking at this door, and like I don't want to be seen coming out this door.
Yeah, everything seems fine. The kitchen staff are looking a little oddly at you, but they're not going to say anything. You're dressed as a lord, so they don't feel like they have the appropriate authority to question your mannerisms.
Alrighty. So I come back into the hall and I meet up with Luis.
What?
All right. Part of our task here is complete. I just have one more matter to attend to.
So you have a couple
Um,
options here. You could try to go get the books on the second floor in the study. Or you can try to find this screaming devil representative who's possibly here.
If hold on. Felix, what else do we need to do while we're here?
That depends entirely on how you feel about what I'm about to ask you.
I'm already in tights, Felix. It can't get much worse.
How would you feel about stealing a merchant lord's records?
Are they in the library?
They're likely upstairs, which means I'll need diversion.
Well, you didn't let me bring the ferret, so I'm out of options. But I can create a distraction. I mean,
Before I do anything else, I want to take a quick scan of the ballroom and the buffet room hall.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking for someone who's out of place. Like, who here screams "Screaming Devil"?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll an investigation. I will let you know this DC is very high, as if this person is part of the conspiracy, or this person does appear to belong in the party. They will most likely be well disguised.
Ooh, that's not bad. That is another dirty 20.
Another dirty 20. So as you're looking around, you don't seem to notice anything super inconspicuous. Like, you don't see anyone trying to blend in. But you do see a familiar hat. A hat that's pretty common amongst thieves.
Amongst
cat?
what?
Thieves. The hat has a magical property to change the wearer's appearance.
What is the hat made out of?
In this certain form, it is a leather hat with a single feathered band around its base, like headpiece, and the hat has one end kind of like flopped up and pinned to the headpiece, and the other side kind of like droops down the other way.
So basically, a musketeer hat.
Yes.
So Valdor's hat from the Anterope Desert campaign.
So I look down at Felix and say, "Who are you looking at, Felix?"
Wait here, and I go in and I approach the individual wearing the hat.
The individual is currently fiddling with a coin, the coin that you recognize.
I approach with the coin between my driving finger and index finger.
Okay. He quickly makes eye contact with you. You're with the crew.
Of course, why else would I be here?
This human that's roughly about 6 feet tall looks at you and he says, well, we have the item. Once you meet me at the next rendezvous location, which I will disclose here. You will be able to take it to the mages. The elf was a bit of an issue, but the lords have driven the elf away.
Oh, I heard about that incident this morning.
Roll a history check.
$15.
Terrans rarely ever reference an elf as an elf. That is a really strange terminology.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of these political parties. So shall we conclude our business here?
Why such a rush? Have you gotten yourself into trouble? I heard there was a robbery this morning.
Well, this is Dalton City. Dalton City. Robberies are quite common.
Yes, but from your ship specifically, the captain's quarters? That seems a little odd, don't you think?
Believe me, the only reason the captain is not here himself is because he's personally taking care of that would-be thief.
Understood. I don't want to see incompetence in those I do business with. It often leads to more trouble than it's worth. You will meet me in 5 days at the Amnon's Cavern at the square. From there, I will take you to the package.
Understood. I shall see you in 5 days.
He kind of gives you a nod, and then he puts the coin in his pocket. And he walks up to the buffet table where he begins to take a plate and grab some food.
I also put the coin in my pocket, and I take my leave back towards the main hall.
Can I get Luis to roll a perception check really quick?
A what?
A perception check?
Okay. I rolled a 4. Because I decided to use D&D and Beyond instead of my dice.
Luis, you get this strange feeling that you're being watched.
Okay. Obviously, I'm 8 feet tall and everybody else is fucking short.
Welcome to my world, dude.
Yeah, Luis has your problem, but magnified by a factor of 2. Okay.
Okay.
So
is it distraction time, or is it time to just dip?
I was about to walk up.
As I rejoin with Luis.
I was actually about to go meet up with you and ask if you still needed the distraction so your friend could make an escape. So your friend could leave without being noticed.
I'm not allowing it. The distraction isn't so someone can leave it so that I can go steal some shit.
Distraction.
Go find a good place to make a distraction and wait for my signal.
Okay, well, I'm going to walk over to the buffet table.
Okay.
Please choose the ballroom.
You want a distraction? I got one brewing.
Oh God, no, no.
I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm ready to roll any dice I need to respond to this. Let's go.
You guys leave me alone. You better get ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. So like I'm ready for your signal.
As soon as I'm like near the base of the stairs, I give him the signal.
And I'm going to sweep the legs out from underneath the table and kind of like accidentally flip the whole thing over on its side, scattering all the food and stuff. And
So basically, you're gonna trip and fall into the table.
yeah.
Okay. So as you go ahead and do that, I would like you to roll a strength check.
Not a performance?
No, this is just a strength.
I
will allow you to actually roll a strength attack. Just an unarmed strike, basically.
Okay. Why am I using D&D Beyond? This sucks. But I'm still going to accept that. It's an 11. It's not the greatest.
Okay, can you roll damage for me? It'll be, well,
actually, no, not that.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Damn it. What?
Okay, so yes, you manage to break one leg as you end up hurting your foot. But the leg collapses down on top of that foot, and then the food just kind of like slides towards you. And as the food slides down towards you, you end up getting buried in a pile of meat, fruits, and dressings.
By buried, you mean knee deep.
You ended up like crouching down a bit in the pain. You're used to wearing like well armored boots, but this time for the disguise you went with something a little nicer, and so therefore your toes actually got crushed by the heavy weight of this wooden and stone table.
All right. Should I roll my stealth now?
Everyone kind of like in the area ends up gasping and looking in your direction as the tall person in the room collapses with a loud crash, and he's now covered in multiple different food elements. Go ahead and roll a stealth with advantage.
Ooh. Natural 20.
Even the bards.
Very much welcome.
Even the bards step away from the stairway and head into the banquet hall where some of them lead their way to the front, and they start to help you up. And one of them says, see, this guy gets to upstage us just because he has a little bit of a higher stature? That's unfair.
Skill issue.
So the total on that stealth is 28.
Awesome. So you manage to get up to the stairway, and you find 6 doors down the hallway to your right and left. So there's about 3 on each side. Which one do you get to check first?
Is there any way I can just peek through the keyhole?
I'm going to say no. The Lord's Manor's locks are probably a little more intricate, so it's hard to see through a keyhole like that. You can
okay.
each
Analyzing
door
the situation
and like peek inside. So you can like
slightly
open the doors and peek inside.
Oh, I'm thinking I have to sit here and pick locks. Okay.
No. The doors are all unlocked. At least the first few you try.
I peek through the obviously the closest one on my right.
Closest one on your right. So you peer inside, and that one seems to have several bookshelves and a large grand piano inside, and there's a couple comfortable seats scattered throughout. This doesn't seem like the place where business is held, but maybe entertainment.
This is the library.
Yeah.
Not the office. Okay. Before I check the next door, because I'm realizing this party's for an individual, and I have not seen said individual. So I'm going to start listening for people on the other sides of these doors.
Okay. So you check the next door. Do you want to roll a perception check?
Sure. 18.
So as you approach the next door, you hear the voices of several men talking. And one of them seems to have a similar mannerism in their tone to the character you were just talking to in the banquet hall. And he says, "Yes, you are to bring your daughter to the temple. This is the order from my lord." And in response, you hear a younger man's voice say, "How dare he think that he can take a lord's daughter? He should wait for the appropriate sacrifice. We have the harvest festival in 10 days. It is bold for you to assume that she is to be a sacrifice. Perhaps my lord merely wishes to speak with her. Perhaps another deal will be made." And then you hear the voice of a slightly older man say, "But why would he choose me? I do not ask these questions. Just bring the girl." "Fine, we'll tell her tomorrow, and then we will proceed in 5 days." "No, 5 days will not work for me. We have other business to attend to in 5 days. We are dealing with an imposter." "An imposter? What do you mean?" "Well, we have the sword that we took from the elf, but someone has stolen the information about that sword. We have to assume the elves are trying to retrieve it." "Then when would you say?" "Bring her in 3 days. Meet me at the Anon." "Understood." "That is well. I will leave now." And then you hear the sound of incantation, and the sound of a poof. Everything kind of goes silent for a minute. And then you hear the younger voice say, "My lord, are we really going to follow through with this?" From that point, you don't hear anything else through the door. They seem to be speaking softly enough that you're not able to hear anymore.
So, okay, I'm strongly suspecting that this is the study. I mean, this is the study.
Yeah, the study.
I gotta get them out of there so I can go steal some shit.
Just then, you start to hear the door behind you creak on the end of the other end of the hallway.
As quietly and as stealthily as I can, I book it for the library.
Okay, go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw.
$25.
With a 25, you quickly dip in and you leave the door cracked to hear what happens. Just a little bit, but not enough to be noticed. Two women walk out of that door. One of them seems to be a maid, and one of them seems to be a 21-year-old woman. And she says, I can't believe this. I hate parties. They're always just wanting to know what I wear, what the next fashion is, so they can all mimic it at the next party. I'm so tired of all these people. But mistress, this party is for you, celebrating that you have reached adulthood. I don't care. I'm heading back to my room. And you hear the clomping of feet, and they pass you, and you hear another door open and close. And then you hear another door open, and you hear the voice of the Lord, and he goes, well, it is time for the toast. Let us head down. Why don't you go make sure that she comes down for the toast, that we can all raise our glasses to her. The young voice says, yes, my lord.
Before we get downstairs, so it's still a bit of a mess. Since I noticed that Felix has gone up the stairs for a little bit, I'm trying to get out of this awkward situation I have put myself in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to leave the
space,
the hall, and I would imagine other guards probably have shown up.
Yeah, several servants are actually currently cleaning up the food, trying to prop up the table, and one of the handymen on site are trying to repair the leg that has collapsed. And the bards seem to be pulling everyone's attention still in the hall, so you're able to make your way back through the doorway and get through the crowd to the other side. People are parting ways, but their attention seems to be focused on the bard, who's now trying to run through a comedy routine, bringing the attention away from the mess.
Yeah.
Where do you make your way to after you make your way out of that room?
I'm not gonna head upstairs because that would be too obvious. I'm trying to find. Is there a place I can go to where to no longer have attention on me, but also keep an eye out for? I could just head outside and wait till Felix finishes up.
You could. I
would do that.
You could also head to the ballroom where you assume there's probably like a connection to a washroom where you could probably clean up a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Or I can go outside and go find the dolphin from last session.
It would be a couple hours walk to the dolphin, but
yeah, okay, but yeah, so I get
you could step outside because you can assume that there's probably a washroom for the servants out there as well.
Yeah, no, I'll head outside. I'll head outside looking for a washroom.
So you head outside. You're greeted by the chef who's currently acting as the driver. He steps away from a group of people, a group of wilds mostly that he was chatting with, and he walks towards
Start taking notes.
And he says, well, you're quite a mess.
That was the plan.
Let's take you to get washed up. And so he leads you towards the washroom. Once you're there, he kind of like stands outside as you interact with a very odd contraption. It is similar to something you've seen in the dragon and giant territories, as those are more technologically advanced. But rather than merely being a handle you turn to turn on, it's a pumping mechanism that feeds out water as you kind of
The
like.
water pump.
Yep.
Okay.
And there seems to be like cloths that you can use. Some are in nicer condition and others are torn. You can assume the torn are for the more dirty, aggressive, like stain stuff. Those are rags versus actual towels.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna be just minding my business, keeping an eye out. Is there anything? So I'm outside.
Well, you're
Do
in
I?
a room that's opened up to the outside, but you're inside a building right now with several
Yeah.
stalls and the water systems.
Anything interesting? Anything of note? Like, can I make a perception? But yeah, or not investigation. I'm not. Yeah. So it would probably just be a perception check.
Yeah, you're just trying to see if there's anything interesting in this room.
21. This is why we use our physical dice.
Yeah, so you step inside and you're kind of like rummaging around instead of like actually cleaning up. And then you hear the door behind you, or on the other side of the door behind you, you hear a groan and a thud. And then the door behind you opens, and stepping through is the elf you saw earlier.
Hmm.
The elf approaches you, and in Draconic, he tries to speak to you. Do you understand?
I do not know Draconic. No.
So he says a few words, and then he realizes that you're not able to understand him. And so he speaks in the common tongue in Terran, and he says, "Are you from the dragon territory?
Do you get it?
You are not
Yeah.
Terran."
No, I'm not. I do come from the Giants' lands.
Why did you
We
help
haven't
me?
called it the dragon. We haven't called it the dragon territory ever because it's our land, not the dragons.
Understood. I will try to be more sensitive. But why would you help me against the Terrans? You have no stake in this war.
Nor exactly. I have no stake, therefore I do not take I don't take a side.
Oh,
I saw someone that was in need and was not. You didn't seem evil, and you didn't seem like I should have stopped you.
with the words that you said, he starts to look a little down as you're speaking, and then you say, "You didn't seem like I should stop you." And so, with a little hope in his eyes, he goes, "Would I be able to ask for your aid?"
What do you need? Let me hear what you need help with, and then I'll decide.
A child of the Titan has been stolen from us, and we would like to save him. But he is trapped beneath the temple of their deities.
Who has stolen a child?
The lords of this land, they have made a deal with a very evil darkness, and it has demanded that they take part in crimes, stealing our kin and leaving them to die. I do not know if this darkness is one of their gods or something else entirely, but it is pure evil, as I saw it, a tall purple man with barbed beard. He looked at me and chased me away as I was trying to find the child of the Titan.
Do you happen to know where they're keeping the child?
I do. There are catacombs beneath the temple in the main square.
Thank you.
He's kept in there.
I sit and ponder, weighing the options, knowing what I want to do in this new land, but knowing I can't let I can't just let that go and pretend that that doesn't exist. I will see what I can do.
Thank you. Where can I meet?
That's all I can promise.
Where can I meet with you later once you have chosen how you will help?
So I tell I can't remember what the name of the inn was, but I tell me out of character. Luis probably remembers. He's smarter than I am.
I wrote down because I also did not record the official name I had made. So after the session, I wrote down Cozy Cates Inn.
I thought it was the Prancing Pony. If I ever run a D&D campaign, the inn, no matter where, it's just always going to be the Prancing Pony. It's a franchise.
Makes sense.
A franchise, just like club members only.
Yep.
Yeah. So
the elf will.
I finished cleaning up what I had, the mess I was in, which wasn't much of an actual cleanup. A little bit of water, brushing off crumbs and grime.
Yeah. The elf actually he sees that you're a mess and he goes, "Do you mind if I help?"
Does this dude know some stupid magic that just poof? I know someone has spells like that.
Yeah, he chooses to cast prestigitation on you, which allows you to either soil or clean clothes instantaneously. So he cleans them.
Well, obviously, it would be kind of jerky if he soiled them.
Yeah. So he cleans them up for you, and he's like, "Thank you so much for your help. I do need aid. I have a hard time getting around without being noticed."
Well, maybe you should try some makeup. No, that's rude.
Hey,
No, so I'll just nod.
Something that can help this elf.
What?
I said Felix knows where he can get something to help this elf.
Yeah, but I nod into his comment. I actually say, you try being 8 feet sometimes. People really notice where you are.
Indeed, it was easy to spot you in a crowd.
Yeah, and so I'll say my goodbyes and then go back inside to try to not be recognized, which is going to be really fucking hard. And
as you step out, you see the chef is knocked out and laying against the wall.
Knocked out?
Like
someone did that to him, or is he drunk?
Oh no, somebody did it to him. Someone knocked him out and he thudded. That's what you heard before the door opens.
Oh, was it the elf that knocked him out?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so in lore reason, I walk in, I see the chef knocked out, I look back at the elf hey man, what the fuck?
The elf just goes, I don't know if I can trust him, and he just leaves. He just kind of like.
And then I say to myself, he is a friend of Louise. not Louise, Felix.
He's a friend of Felix, so valid point. Okie dokie.
Okay.
At this point, some time has gone by upstairs now. You make your way into the study, and you see 3 books kind of lined together. All 3 of them are stated as the records with the Lord's name on it. As you open them, you find out that they are exact copies of each other. So you can take one book without the Lord actually losing all of the information.
Cool. And obviously, before I open them, I would have done an Arcana check just to make sure they weren't booby trapped.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll.
You know, I literally prepared a spell called Detect Magic that may have been helpful, but you didn't want me to come upstairs with you.
I mean, you were the one who stated it's hard to be inconspicuous.
Natural 20!
Yeah.
I need to find it, please, to drop this.
As you scan the desk and the books, you only find an arcane rune sitting over one of the drawers in the desk, but the books seem fine.
So there is a glyph of warding on the desk, on that specific drawer.
Yep. But you seem to be able to take a book just fine.
Cool. So, if memory serves from 30 minutes ago, the records should explain the discrepancies, right?
Yeah. Well, so they will, in more detail, show the discrepancies. They don't explain them. As he said, he looked through the records and...
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Definitely stealing one of the books. So I grabbed the book, I put it in the back pocket of my the hidden pocket in my coat, and I start making my way. I discreetly start. I check if I can make my way back downstairs. Otherwise, I go out through a window.
Okay. So yeah, you peer outside, and
He went through a window.
you hear the Lord in the ballroom gathering everyone to the ballroom for a toast. And you see a large group of servants moving their way in and out of the dining room as all of the guests have all made their way to the ballroom. And it appears to be safe to go out through the front.
This is what I'm seeing with my passive perception?
Yes.
Can I roll a perception?
If you'd like, yes.
I would rather be safe than sorry.
Ooh. Ooh.
So my passive perception is a 13.
Mm-hmm.
Want to guess what I just rolled?
A 13.
A 14.
A 14.
Yeah. Hey, 1 point is 1 point. That's all she needs.
Yeah, it all seems to be safe to go out the front.
I will stealthily start making my way back out.
Okay, roll stealth.
My calculator. There's my calculator. Uh, 24.
Yeah, you make your way out through the front door with no issues at all.
All right. I start looking for Luis and the cook. Home.
You find Luis, I assume, carrying the cook towards the cart.
Okay, yeah. I was hoping to roll a stealth move and sneak up on Felix, but this works. This is better. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, the person you're carrying is about half your size. Well, I'll say like three quarters of your size. So you're kind of like carrying him from like under the arms and just like hugging him, bear hugging him as you're walking him.
I can't carry him like a baby.
I don't think so. That would be a little difficult. But Felix, this is the image that you get as he's walking towards the cart.
Sent on Discord?
Oh no, I don't have like a picture of it, but just
okay. Yeah, okay. I thought you were actually sending a picture.
Oh, if I could get artwork of your characters, that would be awesome. But I only can afford to use free AI right now, so
I use Microsoft's Copilot for my D&D and Beyond character sheet picture.
That makes sense.
Which reminds me, should have loaded by now.
What do you guys do?
I go up to him and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It wasn't me. What do you expect me to do with your
15 minutes?
I just love that you guys are just bickering with each other right there in front of the manor. Okay, so I assume you guys get on the cart. And
before I realized that we weren't going to do combat, I had water bullet prepared. I could have used that as a non-attack spell. You know, an attack do no damage.
Yeah.
Non-lethal attack spell.
Yeah, to wake the guy up.
I just start slapping him in the cheek.
Oh, is there a fountain in front of the manor?
And I look at the guard and go like, apparently my drivers had too much to drink.
Oh, that's the driver's drinking. But is there a fountain in front of this manor?
There is, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna drag the cook over to the fountain and toss him in.
As you toss him in, you with a loud splash, you also hear a loud yell, and he starts to cough a bit, and he's like, "Oh goodness! Do you have any idea of what it feels like to both fall and get wet while you're unconscious? It is not a good feeling."
Well, would you rather have me slapped you?
I would have rather the slap, yes.
Okay, let's slap him.
I get up to the guards like, "We need to get out of here."
Okay. And then he walks up towards you and you slap him. And he looks at you completely puzzled. Like, what?
What the fuck is this giant doing?
What was that for?
Let's go.
And you just say, well, let's go, and walk away?
No, like I say, let's go to Felix and the cook, and meaning like, well, you know, we're not supposed to be lingering here. You are now awake. I don't have to carry you now. Let's go.
He gets on the cart and he waits for you guys to get in, and you guys take off. And you guys make your way back to the inn. Do you guys talk on your way to the inn, or do you kind of sit there in silence?
I commend him for his excellent distraction.
Did you find anything upstairs?
Yes. However, I do feel in the future we should work on your subtlety when it comes to causing a distraction.
The distraction by definition is not subtle.
Yes, however, when it comes to the operations of me and my organization, we operate in the shadows. We discreetly create a disturbance, usually using a third party, like, for instance, instigating a fight between two drunken lords. However, you're quite efficient with yours.
Yeah, last time I checked, you did not get caught. Did not get caught.
Yes, and I reach into the pocket in my in my jacket. I'm like, and it was quite a fruitful endeavor.
I also encountered some interesting information while you were playing Sneak some more upstairs. And then I relayed to Felix the encounter I had with the other elf. With the elf.
Mm-hmm.
That's perhaps something we should worry about. However, and I relay to him my eavesdropping on the conversation between the screaming devil contact and the Lord.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if these two interactions were talking about similar events.
Yeah.
The similarity in themes.
What's the contact
Children being
met?
kidnapped, people being forced into things they don't want to, involving the youth.
The contact that we were sent here to meet told me that there are discrepancies in this lord's donations to the temple. Receipts for sending them, but nothing ever confirming their delivery. If the Lord's daughter is being sent there in 3 days, that is a shall we say a shipment that is quite easy to track.
We just keep an eye on the comings and goings at this manor.
A lord and their family does not simply walk the market without a incredibly heavily armed escort. There's more to this than we know. I feel it is worth investigating. And perhaps it could be very profitable to do so. Especially if we were to rescue this lord's child from any danger.
Unsavory fate?
A lord is a very powerful friend to have.
Yeah.
Well,
It's about this time the cart comes to a halt, and you hear the doors to the like little like horse stable slash warehouse that's behind Cozy Kate's open up, and then it jolts through the doorway and everything closes behind you guys. You hear the many staff that work here at the inn helping disassemble the illusions and different things, and you guys step out of the cart.
All right. I take the ledger to Lila.
gotta go play with my ferret.
Thank you for your assistance. Your debt is, I'll say you've paid about 40 gold off of your debt.
And I'm gonna look at him. I'm gonna narrow my eyes and say, my services come more expensive than that. What was the amount that you originally told me that
150 gold.
250, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw that right back at you.
Hmm.
And this guy handed off a platinum to just an informant. That's crazy.
You know, he doesn't know I have platinum.
I know you don't have platinum, but I know that you were extorting me, so I'm like throwing it right back at you.
So as you take, as
I still don't
Luis,
trust your character.
as Luis heads to get his ferret Slinky right away, and Felix heads to Lila. Lila looks at you as you hand her the book and says, "And what is this?"
What was the hobgoblin's name again?
Aaron.
Stinky flip flop.
So I take out Aaron's notes. Aaron mentioned that there was some heavy discrepancies in the Lord's books. All he could do were some quick notes, but I managed to obtain a copy of the ledger for a deeper dive.
Interesting. And did you find anything else of note at the party? She kind of looks at you inquisitively.
I overheard a conversation between an individual I don't know and the Lord. The Lord is being ordered to send his daughter to the temple in 3 days, which is coincidentally where the discrepancies in the books also align.
That's odd.
What was that?
She says that's
You said
odd.
that's odd.
Yes. I figure we could try to track the small, discreet shipments through the city, or a family member of the Lord traveling will be heavily guarded, therefore being an easy envoy to spot and keep track of.
Okay.
See where the final destination of these shipments actually resides.
I'll have Frederick look at the book. He'll be able to let me know. Being a seasoned merchant, he should be able to read these much more proficiently than Aaron was.
If that is all, I am exhausted.
You're not going to go out for a night of fun tonight?
I think I've had my fill of company this evening.
Okay. Sleep well.
You as well.
The wicked never rest. And she kind of goes to
Meanwhile, Luis
herself.
is doing quite nicely.
I did not hear what you said, Jam.
She said the
Sorry.
wicked never rest, and she goes to start like looking through the book.
Very well.
Even though I imagine this is like still the same night, but like this is a different session. Can I roll to do some more training for the ferret?
Sure.
I just want to train it to like go like somewhere and then like come back, and I'll worry about like retrieving objects next session.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll an animal handling.
Okay. We are going to be actually rolling one of our dice. I'm going to use the white one this time because it's pretty. 22.
22. Okay. Yeah, you successfully teach him. He's very, very fluent. Like he's learning from you so well. Like even you're starting to be like, wow, this is awesome. Like, you're really confident in this ferret's abilities.
Yeah, what's going to be really great is one of the spells I can prepare is talk with animals, and so I'm looking forward to being able to use this ferret to get information discreetly because ferret can get into places me, a giant, or even Luis can't get into.
Yeah.
You are Luis.
That's actually
That's a good point.
really
Yes,
awesome.
that's a very good point.
So
Ferret.
as you guys are going to rest for today, when we end this stream, you guys are going to be able to level up, and you guys will be on level 2 now. Okay. Is there anything you guys want to do, like second day in town, or do we want to skip to the next narrative day?
Well, I guess the $1,000,000 question is, Tanner, do you feel like you could go another hour?
Well,
no.
I mean,
Heard.
Yeah.
Well, we still got like 20 minutes before 7 o'clock.
Yeah. I can get you guys a cliffhanger ending.
Want to meet with the hobgoblin whose name I've already forgotten again.
Aaron, yeah.
It's an A. Arnon.
Aaron. I will meet with Aaron to let him know what I was told by the contact and see if he can dig up any information on who the mages are. Since I have 5 days until I'm picking up something I'm supposed to deliver to mages.
Yeah. Okay. So that will be the next day then, instead of going to a narrative day. So you guys wake up the very next day, and I assume Felix decides to pursue this on his own, or are you going to grab Luis?
I will absolutely be pursuing this on my own and taking an incredibly long route to make sure no one's following me.
Of course. Would you like to roll a perception check to make sure
I
no
would.
one is following?
17.
You have an eerie feeling as if you are being watched the entire day. But as you investigate, I'm not even going to make you roll, you cannot find any signs of being watched at all.
But I feel like I'm being watched.
Yep.
Hello.
Someone is utilizing invisibility to follow me.
Possibly. You don't know of any high-level mages in this town, though. This town's actually fairly adverse to magic. The closest thing to
I would like to attempt to shake the tail before I meet with Aaron.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth or performance check, your choice. Different outcomes, obviously.
Let's go stealth because that's what I'm better at. One of these days, when we play D&D, I'll be awake enough to do math. 24.
They're small. Okay, there we go. Like, what? You said 27 was your roll?
24.
24. Okay. And we're going with investigation. Yeah, you end up feeling like you managed to shake the tail.
All right. And then I would like to like pull up my hood and try to just disappear into the crowd so they don't find me again.
Yeah.
Would you like another stealth check for that?
No. We'll use your previous roll. You managed to get away. So you make your way to the manor. And you find.
No. I told him I'd meet him in the market.
Oh yes, you make your way to the market, and was that?
So hold on. Can we take a pause from Felix? Just I want to think about like where Luis would be.
Yeah.
So morning goes, and so like I go about my day. I want to be investigating. Where did the elf say that this place would be?
So
that they're keeping the people? It was
the
temple underneath something.
Yeah, the Temple of the Living Host is the temple at the very center of the market square. So it's a huge open market with booths and market shops all facing this massive cathedral that goes 4 stories up. It is said that the 3 stories above the main floor all are the living spaces of 3 of the living hosts, which are deities worshipped here in the Terran world.
So Luis is going around the market. He's talking. He's gathering information. He's being a good scientist. He's gathering information for later adventures, places he may want to go, or places that are particularly lush with wildlife. Asking questions, learning about the temple, the cathedral. But during his entire time in the market, I'm going to have Detect Magic casted, which is something I had prepared ahead of time, so that while I'm going through it, it's a concentration spell up to 10 minutes to sense any. What is it? You take a magic action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears the magic. And if the effect was created by a spell, you learn the spell School of Magic. How does this work?
Yeah, so as you activate it there in the market square, first things you start to notice is the auras off of the bards. Some of them are definitely using magic to help heighten their voice or to create illusions as they're playing their lyres and their lutes and their other instruments of choice, or just yelling out with their vocal cords. You see several shops with radiant auras of magical purpose.
Maybe this wasn't such a good idea to do this in the market.
And those shops have various different magic spell schools and radiance. The cathedral.
Yeah, but do I spot anything of a malicious nature?
Yeah. So the cathedral, as you look at it, the upper floors are flooded with this radiant light of divine magic. This is not a school, but a source of magic. And you see 2 guards standing outside that have illusion magic hanging over them.
What? So it says you learn is their effect created by a spell?
It appears to be something like disguise self.
Okay.
But it is definitely the school of illusion magic.
Well, then I'll definitely have to come back later with a way to see underneath the skies, because it just tells me I can know that there's magic going on there, but I can't.
Yeah, it is a little sus that like the guards of like a priest temple like would be wearing illusions for sure. Like,
And this definitely wasn't like, hey, I'm going to like go into a dungeon or anywhere spooky yet.
yeah, you're just trying to scope it out. Great idea.
Yeah, it's a rendezvous.
Yep, it makes perfect sense.
I do have Slinky with me.
I will say, as
He's
you're
tearing away at my shoulder.
keeping up the narrative of your investigation, as you are there, you switched from combat to like passive, didn't you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in any combat.
A fight ends up breaking out right in front of you where several hobgoblins and a shifter charge at a shop that seems to be primarily a butcher's, and they set the place on fire, and three men come out with bats in bats that have like barbs wire like wrapped around it, and they assault the people that lit their store on fire, and two others start to throw water over the fire and instantly putting it out. And the shifter ends up pulling a dagger and he stabs one of them in the gut. What do you do in this moment?
Good night.
It seems like the shoppers are giving a wide berth, but they don't seem to be exactly disturbed by this. Like, this happens pretty frequently.
Where? So you said these were hobgoblins, or
A couple hobgoblins and a shifter, which he seems to be like a dog humanoid.
they set the place on fire?
Yep. Three butchers came out and started hitting them with bats with barbs on them, and then two other people inside the butcher shop came out and started putting out the fire. And then the
one of
dog
the butchers has been stabbed.
by the dog, yes.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. You don't attack. Gosh, I'm debating whether or not to get involved, because obviously I'm seeing this guy in the process of getting murdered.
Yep. And the hobgoblins are also getting pretty brutal, like brutally beaten with these barbs. Like, their faces are getting scratched up. One of them's arms have been busted.
The guy's place on fire. Are the guards doing anything about it?
No, the guards don't seem to be moving at all.
What kind of madness is this?
Welcome to Alextora.
It's up to you.
I don't want to initiate combat, but do not have any. I don't have. Well, I want to help the guy that got stabbed, but I'm not going to be getting into conflict here.
Do you want to try calling the guards?
Yes, that's a good idea.
Okay. So, would you call for the guards, and they don't seem to exactly notice you immediately. But if you'd like to roll a performance, you can try to make your voice carry, because perhaps they're
Yeah,
just not
I'm
hearing.
the man that like the law enforcement do something.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll up her performance.
7.
A 7. So you do make quite a ruckus as you're like, somebody help him! This man's been stabbed! And several guards like look over towards you and like they kind of roll their eyes, but they move towards the fight, and the wilds, the hobgoblins and the shifter look and see the guards coming kind of like slowly, but they're coming, and so they rush off, and the dagger's still in the butcher's stomach.
Okay. So then I'm gonna rush and try to help this guy. I don't hold on. I can't. Would I do a medicine check or survive? Not. Yeah, it would be a medicine.
It would be a medicine. If you have a medicine kit, you can actually help assist in stabilizing him to stop him from dying. Or if you have any spells that might help him regain HP, it could help the guards.
None that I have prepared. No, I would only have. Can I just use my base medicine check to like stabilize him?
You won't be able to stabilize him, but you might be able to prolong his life. So go ahead and roll a medicine check. It's going to be a pretty high DC since you don't have the medicine kit yet.
Yeah, why is it the only tools I have is this damn dragon chest set?
You actually do have it probably like an adventurer's pack or something, which gets broken down to things, but I don't think an adventurer's pack has a medical kit in it. So.
Okay, well I have my number. Let me see if there's anything I have in my inventory I can use. No, I don't even have that medicine pack.
Okay.
Something I need to look into.
I
rolled a 6. I got a 16.
Oh, 16.
After modification.
So yeah, you actually do a pretty good job of trying to like stop the bleeding. Obviously like trying to keep the dagger.
I'm not putting the knife out. If the knife is still in there, I'm leaving it.
And the guards kind of like just stand there, and they start yelling at the people nearby and saying, "Give them space! Give them space! We'll have a priest here in a moment." And then a young blonde woman,
doesn't need a priest. He needs a doctor.
Halfling runs up, and she's in pure white armor. And she says, "Thank you for helping him," and instantly starts to incant something, and she grabs the dagger with like directly by the hilt and just pulls it out as she's incanting. And you see green light start to radiate from her hand as the wound starts to heal, and you realize that she's casting healing magic to restore his health.
Yeah. Well, she's in white armor. Is this a cleric or a paladin or just a priestess?
If you want to roll an arcana or history, you could try to identify her class.
We'll do wait on. Yeah, arcana and history is same modifier. Arcana is so it's an arcana check. 17 after modification.
17, based off of the magic incantation that she used and the component pouch that she's carrying, you assume she is a cleric. She has the symbol of 24 stars in a circle on like a medallion that hangs from her neck. And she looks up at you after the butcher thanks her for healing her, and he starts to head back into his shop. Several of his buddies being like, "God damn, he really got a number on you. We'll make him pay." We'll find out which shop he's at. We'll take him down. And the priestly woman looks up at you and she goes, "Thank you so much for helping him. What is your name, hero?"
My name is Luis, and I wouldn't have had to step in if there was some functional law enforcement around here eyeing the guards that did zip squat.
She speaks up a little bit. She goes, "Well, truthfully, the guards can't do much in these moments as they happen pretty frequently, and we would rather the guards make sure the people are safe that are around, as the feuding between the Wilds and Terrans shopkeepers continue, despite our protests. Have you ever been to the temple before?"
No, I have not.
She goes, "Well, if you ever want a blessing or a prayer made for you, just reach out and ask for Serena."
What's that for? No. So I thank her. I thank her for that offer.
I should have seen it coming when he said blonde, halfling, and white.
And then I guess I'll just go back to what I was doing, moving about at the market, and I'll step away so Nash can continue what he was doing.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so
Yeah, you find your contact. You let him know, "Hey, I need you to look into the sword," right? What were the things that you wanted him to look into?
figure out what this thing I could figure out a sword that is desired by a group of mages.
A sword that is desired by...
That may or may not be happening. That may or may not be an exchange happening in 5 days.
Okie dokie. Make sense? He replies with, "Got it, boss. You gonna give me a little something again?"
I hand him another platinum, and remember, discretion. And this is between us.
He in response kind of like gestures like a silent kiss to the coin, and he sticks the coin in his pocket, and he leaves. I think that was a pretty effective 20 minutes. Thank you everyone for watching today and tomorrow, and when you actually get to watch this video. I'm hoping to continue to stream this for you guys, as getting to not just record but play in Alextora is really awesome. If you want to help support me as I'm actually building a supplement for people to actually be able to play in Alextora as well, then please feel free to visit my Patreon, which the link is in the description in the video below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.